Well, we've reached the point in the season where the season is starting to piss me off because the season is on the verge of falling off a cliff because it seems like we've already reached the race war portion of the season, which most of the past 13 years the Big Brother seasons have reached this kind of point. We finally got a reprieve last season, but I fear that was an anomaly. Plus, the blockbuster competition is a flop, which I called before the season started that it was probably going to be, because the cast has made the twist very boring. They continue to nominate the same people over and over every week now. And I feel like even if somebody that was being nominated every week wins the HOH, they too would nominate the same people because most of this cast is pretty damn dumb when it comes to the game. I mean, today, Callie herself didn't even understand the veto on the show that she's on and has now been on for 3 weeks. She didn't understand that if someone won the veto and took someone off, that person is still safe too. What kind of people do these people does this show cast? I don't understand, but they do. So I fear that the spirit of my Big Brother 24 recapping is here tonight. So please don't cry in my comments. I mean, you can, but I don't give a damn. We're going to start talking about the hick bigot that is Rylie. Rylie, who I've been saying all along is a creep, is far more than just a creep. He is probably one of the biggest turd castings this show has ever done. The guy who only seems to be able to call the black women bitches is now being borderline angry and hateful when talking about Morgan, Mickey, Ashley. And yeah, there's definitely a vitriol when it comes to talking about them. It's very clear on the feeds. So on top of his racism, he's also very creepy when it comes to Kat, in my opinion, even though fuck Kat. But he has pretty much admitted to Zach last night or the wee hours of the morning that he's there to try and get some pussy. So the same guy who outside of the house is a deadbeat dad because of having kids that he's not taking care of is only in the game right now to hate on the black people and try and get some pussy. What a casting choice. I mean, Riley's not only a deadbeat dad, but they've casted a deadbeat player who's non-existent in the game, unless, of course, he's being racist. So, yeah, him and his bad vibes. Honestly, a match made in heaven for Kat and her bad vibes. I've been calling them Bad Vibes 1 and Bad Vibes 2 all week. So, they're totally on the same vibe. So I guess casting at least got their awful, boring, bigoted showmance. But at what cost? The season taking a turn. But truly, to me, Rylie is giving dangerous vibes. He has anger. I have now watched 5 times on the feeds where he gets very sharp with someone out of nowhere. An example a couple nights ago was he was talking to Kat about how most of the players in the house are dummies, and she went to say something and he was immediately like, I'm not talking to you. And I was watching the feeds like, okay, that was a bit much. So I don't know how the rest of the cast is not seeing it. He's not on feeds a lot. He's only on feeds a lot when he's with Kat by themselves. So I don't know how most of the cast is not feeling it. I really don't. Morgan, Mickey, Ashley have done nothing to him, so the vitriol about them doesn't make sense to me. It's a lot, and yeah, he is one of the worst castings I've ever seen on this show, and this show has casted plenty of turds. But he being so weird and so dangerous, I am not loving it at all. And so I do wonder if some of the players just don't want to go after him. Like, he hasn't been even in the conversations this week. I'm not even talking about just Lauren as HOH, but people are not bringing up his name to Lauren. Are they afraid that he's a fucking psycho? Possibly. So then he's being weird and aggressive, talking about the black women to Lauren, but somehow that's just not a red flag to her dumb ass, because she just seems to have good vibes from him. Which is actually no surprise, because later tonight, this conversation happened today. Tonight, Lauren's naming all the people she trusts in the game. And surprise, surprise, it's all the white people except the gay guy. And I know at the end of that conversation, she did add Adrian and Will, but it was like, these are all the people I trust. And then after that, it's like, and kind of Adrian will a little bit too. Please. What the fuck ever. Anyway, I'll get back to this white mess, but because I have a lot more to say about Lauren, especially. And just so you know, I don't want to hear in the comments about, oh, this is too woke, oh, modern viewers are too sensitive, because those same people that whine and cry in the comments are just being pussies themselves. You're crying in the comments for what? On a slightly lighter note, even though I'm pretty over the soap opera as well, last night Mickey, Will, Ashley, Rachel brought up Morgan's feelings to Zach. Well, about Zach, to Zach, and we're up laughing about it. So Morgan not having a good morning, although she doesn't know about this, of course. And then Vince later also told Lauren about Zach's feelings for her. So that was awkward. And a side note, Lauren also didn't name Zach in the people she trusts the most either. So there's that. But at least today, Rachel told Morgan about Zach's feelings for Lauren, and Morgan seemed like she was okay with it at first. But then later in the day, she's once again saying that she needs to get Lauren out of the game so that, you know, she can be closer to Zach or keep Zach's head in the game. And so I know there's a lot of people out there feeling sorry for Morgan, that people are up laughing about her crush on Zach. But Morgan's not doing herself any favors by constantly being weird about the situation. Like, the fact that she's still saying she wants Lauren out so that she could be closer to Zach, or she wants Lauren out so that Zach's head could be in the game more instead of, you know, maybe getting Zach out. I don't know. I can't feel sorry for Morgan. Sorry. The veto happened today. I was happy when Will chose Ashley. I like their little father-daughter dynamic. I'm glad Ashley at least has someone in this house that sees her as a human being, because most of the cast isn't doing a good job of that. I have in my notes things I want to talk about, but I don't really care about most of the pre-veto shit that happened today. I got to get back to my ranting, but I do have to talk about Rachel and Keanu's conversation, where Rachel tried to pull Keanu's head out of his ass and his terrible reads on the house, where at first Keanu thought Rachel was spinning things and that's why he was going after her, even though at the beginning of the game Rachel was trying to play with Keanu very hard. She was. But then now he's thinking, oh, it's Mickey and Morgan that's trying to turn everyone against me. It's not. Rachel finally correctly pointed out that he needs to watch out for Vince and Jimmy. At the very least, Keanu did not repeat this information that Rachel gave him to anyone. He didn't tell anyone about this conversation. That's actually a big step for Keanu's terrible game. Keanu blamed Kelly because at one point he told Kelly that he's going to be the best Big Brother player ever. Rachel said that information got back to him, so at least he knows maybe Kelly talks too much. But he hasn't really shown any part of wanting to go after Vince. But, I mean, maybe he still wants to and he's just having conversations with Vince still to have a sneak attack. I don't know. I would love for Rachel and Keanu to become these enemies now working together, because this trope in games doesn't happen enough where two people are just constantly going against each other and then try and work together. And it should happen more often, because if you're just constantly going after each other, you're just ruining both of your games. So big ups for Rachel trying to get Keanu on a better page. I just don't trust Keanu because he's very game dumb. And all night tonight, he's been walking in on Vince, having conversations with so many different people. So with Rachel alluding that Vince is trying to be the puppet master, he thinks he's the puppet master. If tonight Keanu can't see that to be true by constantly walking in on Vince in different conversations, game conversations with everyone, if Keanu can't see the truth tonight, he's never going to see the truth about Vince. So we'll see. Keanu did win veto though, so he's not going home this week. I like Keanu as a character. I think he is fine for the feeds. I was just annoyed because that means Ashley's going to be nominated, which I've been calling since Lauren won HOH. here's the biggest issue of the night. That was just the nail in the coffin for me with a lot of these players, because Rylie started it off last night and today being his weirdo, hick, bigoted self. And then again, tonight, we have to listen to Lauren and Vince talking about how Ashley's just going to be so explosive if she gets put on the block. It's this microaggressive bullshit that Lauren's been saying about Ashley since she became HOH. Vince, of course, adding to it because he has tunnel vision for Ashley, because Ashley's one of the only players that doesn't fall for his bullshit. So they're being microaggressive about Ashley again, which I will definitely get back to, but I also got to talk about how Vince was in the HOH room so long tonight. So I guess the only cherry on top that's happening today is that at least more and more people are catching on to Vinnie's overplaying. Vinnie's done a pretty good job of keeping up with how he has these connections with everyone and all these different final twos. The problem is it's only week 3. And if you have to do all of this work by week 3, you might be doing a little too much. Because now Vince has to keep up this pace for the rest of the game. And him being up in Lauren's HOH room looks pretty sketchy to anyone with a brain that he's trying to run Lauren's HOH. Ashley and Rachel, the biggest clockers, because they're two of the only people in the game with the brain, for the game at least. But I'm glad that Vinnie's tunnel vision for Ashley is starting to affect his game, because if you get tunnel vision too hard, your game usually does start to crumble. And the fact that even Adrian, Mr. Bad Reads himself, is having very good reads on Vinnie tonight and his game and how he's just involved with everyone and how he wants Ashley up on the block because Ashley clocks him, or it's Ashley's one of the only people that he doesn't have a connection with. Yeah, Vinnie is doing too much. But back to Lauren and Vince's microaggressions with Ashley and how she'll be totally explosive. It's bullshit. Ashley's real. Ashley keeps it real. She's blunt. But when she was put on the block by Vinnie, she was not explosive. She cried. And then yesterday, when Lauren's crying because, oh my God, she's HOH, and you're crying about it, Ashley was one of the main people to comfort her and hug her. And so now Lauren's acting like she's just going to be so explosive. Lauren is a very big part of the problem with the past few days and this game veering towards a very bad direction that nobody wants to watch in a race war. Lauren is a part of the problem with this sundown town alliance of her with her allies of Rylie, Kat, and Vince. And she's not making sense, like I said in my last video last night. She's saying that Ashley's going to be explosive, but she doesn't want to talk to Ashley tonight about her nominations. So if you're just so afraid of Ashley, why are you going to blindside her? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Lauren is dumb, so maybe that's what it is, because it's very hard to watch her on feeds. And actually, the fact that I have to torture myself and watch the feeds to make reviews makes me want to slow talk like her so that the rest of you can suffer as well. Because she talks so slow, trying to form a damn sentence about who she might want to nominate. It's fucking torturous. A lot of this casting is terrible, and if Ashley goes, the feeds are going to crumble. Trust me, Rachel and Ava cannot carry this season on their backs when half of this cast is so damn bland and boring, or just hard to watch, or just weirdos. Casting dropped the ball this season, and the twists flopped so hard with the powers and the blockbuster shit. Also, Ashley was never coming for Lauren the past 2 weeks. So while I gave Lauren credit the past 2 videos about how she was at least trying to stick to the people she wanted to nominate, Vince being in her head so hard tonight about nominating Ashley makes me consider her letting Vince try and run her HOH. Because Ashley was not coming for Lauren the past 2 weeks. In fact, they've been at least personally close. if Lauren wasn't being ran by Vinnie, I could at least see her wanting to nominate Mickey or Morgan, who had Lauren at the top of their list to eliminate. Anyway, to recap the season, to recap tonight, the season's on the verge of falling apart because we might have a race war, and the fact is that the black people have not been on the same page. Ashley has been dragging Morgan for weeks now. Ashley has been the main person trying to at least work with various people. So, yeah, you can blame the whites for starting this race war, and for the people that want to say it's too woke or people are being too sensitive, you're going to be the ones crying all over social media about it. So, perhaps the show should cast better. That's always been one of the main problems. The two main problems are that the producers have always sucked. Grodner and Mayhem. They cast like shit, and the twists always actually ruin the seasons. Last season was such a good season for once, until the home stretch, when production brought out some really, really stupid, bad twists. And this season, they decided to cast a complete weirdo, one of the biggest weirdos they've ever casted in Rylie. The deadbeat father, who is now a deadbeat player.